All right, welcome to the Blood Prison Shakedown. It's been a minute, but we're back, and I couldn't ask for a better guest to bring in 2023, Dave Shonk of Closed Casket Studios. How you doing, man?
Good, man, good.
Did I say your name right? Am I good on that?
Yeah, Dave Shonk.
I'm just making sure. I got a last name, Amasquita, so that gets,
That's why I honestly had no idea how to say your last name.
Yeah.
You've always just been Vic.
Vic, exactly. So what's been going on, man? It's been since Trans World. How you guys doing up there?
Good. That's what, catching up, Yeah, it's running good. Man, now I'm stuttering. I'm nervous, everyone.
He's nervous in front of the cameras. No,
that's why I'm just running production, man. Yeah. Like, the weather's kind of been, it's Ohio, so, one day it's 75, the next day it's the 28.
25, yeah.
And
it sucks.
Latex is drying a little slow.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thankful where I'm at right now, because I keep thinking, like, we're recording this right now, and normally we would be in St. Louis.
Yes.
That I am so far ahead compared to how I'm normally pulling my hair out right now in anticipation for the show.
Now, how is that? Is that working out for you, at least for this year? It's like, well, it kind of sucks if we don't have enough time to prepare, but you've got a little extra time to...
I'm going to be honest, the entire winter was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think I left the shop. It was just like, oh, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I guess I should stop.
Yeah.
Like, I was making molds on Christmas Eve. I think I made a mold on Christmas Day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like,
that's, working over the holidays.
Yeah.
Job security, though, man. You're making money.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, like the short time. It was like I had some time. It was Christmas. I had the day off.
Yeah.
But, I had to.
Yeah, it was a mad rush for sure.
Yeah.
But, hey, at least you got the extra time. So, dude, your stuff is fucking badass. Let's just put it out there.
Thank you, man.
It's
Thank you.
badass. It's fucking just gorgeous. And speaking of which, where's my order? I put my order in at Trans World and I haven't got it yet.
Hey, man, it's like only been like a month. It's only been a month.
I'm right down the road, man.
Hey, I honestly think most of your order is casted right now.
I'm going to put you on the spot while we're rolling.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. I was like thinking about that on the drive down here. I was like, man, I really should have rushed and got that done.
No.
He would have been so hyped if I walked in. Holding a bunch of pumpkins.
I would have been like, what the fuck, serious? Yeah. Don't you hate that, though, when people start, like, really busting your balls 2 weeks after Trans World? Like, you're just getting back and getting your schedule done and everything, and they hey, man, how's my order looking?
Dude, that's like, I feel like that's something that, like, it's difficult. Like, for the most part, Closed Casket, about 95% of the work is done by me.
Yeah.
And, like, I deal with, since it's online, and it's kind of it's a faceless thing where, like, it's just like a website, people are ordering from. I don't post much personal stuff on social media, so like, it's a faceless thing, and people, I'll get orders, and then literally, I usually will send like a little blurb being like, hey, right now production's about 6 weeks out, or whatever.
Yeah.
And people will be like, yeah, but I need it next week. Like they think. It's a terrible thing where people think you're Amazon.
Yeah.
Where it's just like they want it, they think it's going to ship right then and there. And sometimes I can do that. Like, so I try to keep some inventory that I can just box up something and throw it in the mail the next day. But
well, and you're in that situation where your stuff is so good that people don't look at it and think, oh, this guy's doing it out of his basement. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're going to think, oh, this guy's, probably like got, a lot of stuff, or he's got a big warehouse and, something like that. So they're thinking, hey, man, can I get this in a couple weeks? And you're like, no, dude, I got to fucking make it,
Yeah, I hate having to say no on certain things like that. Like, the last couple of years, I've even had to just be like, I'm done with orders. Like, I can't take any more. Like, I feel like it's been like the middle of July, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, you're not going to get this before your hunt opens. Like,
yeah. And there's a lot of people now that I even still order from that don't even go to Trans World. I'm like, you go in? They're like, nah, man, we can't. It's like, we can't do that. And it's like, holy shit.
Well, and that's like the thing. Yeah, sometimes like there's been a couple of years of Trans World where I get home and I'm like, I don't know if I can really take much more.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, because that means people love your shit and they're, buying it and they want it, and you're like one guy,
I feel like it's a double-edged sword. Or sometimes I wish I had the help, but like sometimes it's like cool to be like, man, I made this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's certain things I feel like when we were like packing up for Transworld, I'm like, man, this looks nice.
Yeah.
Like I made this.
This is going to sell.
And then it doesn't.
Yeah, you're just like,
and we sell one over the next 5 years.
And the one you made 5 years ago, they're just like, we sold 10 of them. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's how it goes, doesn't it?
Or it's something I did as a one-off, and then I did it as a one-off, and then someone's like, well, I want 4 of it. And it's just like, man, I don't even remember how I painted. Like,
right.
Okay.
We make these one-off props. Like, we have, people make them for us just using our props. And then, but people are like, I want that. And it's just like, it's a one-off, dude. It's like, we get certain things in. We make, like, a piece of lab equipment or something.
Yeah.
We throw a severed head or an arm on it and then send it out. So we sell it. That's usually only for Transworld. But people are like, can you make another one? It's like, not really. I mean, we could make something similar, I suppose. But you don't get the idea of, it's one-off. It's kind of one of a kind. That's kind of how we...
Well, and that's why I like to bring some of that stuff, just because it's... Yeah. And it's like, I like... People seem to enjoy having me like, that's the only one I'm ever going to make like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's the niche.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no one else has one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because that's why I did like a Beetlejuice paint up on something this year.
Yeah.
I'm probably never going to do another one of it. I told the guy that, like, it was a lot of work for what it was, like, but it was just something I wanted to be eye-catching that...
We did one at Creature Core that I'm like, this is pretty cool, but every year we take one now because people just love them. Yep. It's a popcorn machine with a severed head in it. Okay. And like, I swear to God, I could put $1,000 on that and somebody'd buy it. And I'm like, but it's, it's like, what? Okay. But ever since we sent that first one there, I'm like, first day, I'll take it. Sold, out the door. This year, like the last 2 years on those things, there was, I can't think of who, his name was Bob something. I can't remember the haunt he owns, but he comes before the show opens and he's like, I want everything. I want all of this stuff here. Anything that's got lab equipment, I want it. And we're like, okay. So it's like you come in and then the doors open and everything's got sold on it. And you're just like, how do you do that? How do you balance that? You know what I mean? It's rough.
Well, that's why, like, I feel like every year I get hit up before the show where people are like, well, save this for me. Save me. I will not take a pre-order.
No? It's probably a good practice.
It's part of it is just because it gets so confusing. Like, like the lineup's gotten so big and we try to do like the paint variants on everything and have an example of everything. So people are visual, sometimes they don't believe me being like, no, it'd be sick in the green paint scheme. If I don't have one to show them, sometimes you lose that sale. So I try to bring enough of the paint variables so everyone can see them. But then like, it's always, can I buy it before the show? And like, I feel like that kind of ruins like the anticipation and like the hype of the show. Like that Thursday morning, man, that line is long outside of Transworld.
Oh yeah. Well, there's this, I'm not going to drop names or anything, but we got this one customer who comes like every year and he comes in before the show opens and he looks at, he goes, I want all your masks. And I'm sitting there like, all right, hold on a minute. You want every single one? Now, this guy is a repeat customer. He's my biggest mask order every year. And I'm like, you want every one of these? You've got 3 of those already. Why do you need enough? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I know.
Yeah.
And so you always try to whittle it down. It's like, it's not that I don't want to sell it to you. If it comes down to it, I'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
But it's just, I hate that when, as someone coming in, like if I was coming in with everybody else and I walked up to a booth and be like, how in the world is this sold already?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're probably doing a good thing by not doing that.
Well, and that's what we do sell a little bit to like vendors and stuff. Because like at the same time, like we don't get to walk around the show ever.
Yeah. Right.
Like I'm going to be honest, I didn't even get to walk through the show at all this year.
Yeah.
I probably made it to your booth from my booth. And that's only 3 or 4 aisles down.
3 aisles down. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't make it anywhere near close to Christmas Land.
Yeah. Neither did I. That's kind of the deal. Like I work for Creature Core, like kind of part-time. So I'm just like, look, here's the deal. I'll do everything I can at the booth and I'll sell whatever I can sell, but I got to have time to kind of do my thing, but you can't do that because...
Well, that's what I did. I did have to step away a little bit because I also work at the Haunt Schoolhouse and Laboratory where I had to go do some of the buying for us where I tried to send other people when I could to be like, hey, just go buy this. But there was a couple things where like I had to be the one to go and pick out and make the order.
But you're a big deal, you know.
I am? What? Wait, what?
So, all right, let me ask you this. I ask this to most of, all the guests, especially when they're doing stuff as cool as you're doing. So, like, where did it come from? You know what I mean? It's like, because you said that you sculpt a lot of the stuff, and I'm assuming you mold it, and all that stuff. But where did it come from for you? Trick-or-treating as a little kid, watching horror movies. Where does that inspiration hit you at?
I've been a monster kid forever.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, it was kind of that resurgence of the Universal monsters, where I distinctively remember being in like first or second grade, and I had Universal Monsters Valentine's Day cards. And I just like think about how cool that was. Like that at that time period, like that was kind of coming back. I grew up going to Catholic school, which is even crazier.
Yeah.
And I definitely had a lot of disciplinary marks on me because I remember I got written up because we had to go to church, like Fridays. Yeah. And I got written up in first grade, and I feel like this followed me forever through those grade school years. I was drawing werewolves in church.
Oh, shit.
And
not a good thing, bro.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I feel like it was always there. Like, I think I was scared of it. Yeah. And like me getting into it was what like helped me conquer that fear, where like, I guess in reality, I'm probably still a big scaredy cat. Like,
yeah.
But making these monsters is like my way of like.
Sure. Well, they look badass. So I know there's something fucking going on up in there,
Yeah.
So, okay, you went to a Catholic school. I did too. Okay, now I only went the first.
I'm sorry.
I only went the first couple of years, like kindergarten and first grade, and I was like at my mom, like, she's like, "Do you want to go to different school?" I'm like, yes, I do. The playground here sucks. Okay, and the nuns beat the shit out of me. So it's like, you're probably young enough where maybe the nuns couldn't hit you, but the nuns would hit me. Because I was probably just a little bastard. But either way, it's like, this nun beat the shit out of me today. What the hell's going on with this? Aren't they supposed to be like loving God? And, and here they are kicking the shit out of me with rulers and, bare hands and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm scarred.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's what, like, I went there through 8th grade, and I finally got the option I went to public high school.
Yeah. Was that like going to a new school?
Yeah. I went from...
Where'd you go to school at?
Stowe High School.
Oh, okay. Stowe, yeah.
Like right outside Akron. I went from being in a class of 90 kids to being in a class of over 600.
Wow.
Where it was just like, when I was in Stowe High School, there was like, I think, almost 3,000 kids in the 4 years.
That's nuts.
Like, it was a culture shock to me, where like, I feel like I made some lifelong friendships there where I still keep in touch with some of those guys, but like, that helped me come out of my shell a lot, where like, I was no longer... Because by that point, we had been doing like home haunts and decorating the yard. My parents had a big covered front porch that we always did like a little walkthrough, and moved to the garage. And like, I think all my friends from middle school just thought I was a weirdo, but they just kind of humored me on it, where they're like, "Oh, this guy's like, he wants to make zombies." Where then I got into like this school, and I actually got to meet people who like I'm more meshed with, who are more creative, who like wanted to help me build zombies and build the backyard haunted house. Like,
that'd be cool.
Where I finally felt like I kind of fit in a little bit. But
here's something I want to ask you though. So like, I think almost every person I've had on this show that has done haunts have said, "Well, I did a home haunt in a garage." I'm just like, I want to know where all these are. One, just as a kid. Two, did you ever do anything at Bloodview?
No.
Okay. Well, that's the other thing that I think in common.
Me and Nicole, my wife, guest acted there, or not really guest acted. We just came up and volunteered a couple nights. Okay. Probably 10, 15 years ago. It was just
just to do it.
The itch of working at a show was there, and it was October, and we weren't working at a show at the time, and we were like, let's just go up. We had a couple friends up there.
Sure. Yeah, I just wondered. That was the other common thing. Is like, well, I started at Bloodview, and I was just like, man, everybody's worked there.
No, I was at the Bastard Son. I started at Hudson Haunted House.
Okay.
Which was another charity show.
Yes.
That I was 14, and that was, one town over, and
Yeah.
there was a season or two there for me.
So what then is Morbid Estates?
Oof. That was
I did a little research.
I know. I see it on your little sheet, and she's excited over here.
Tell me about.
All right.
Tell me Morbid Estates. And when I say I did my research, I stalked you on Facebook. It's on there still. So let's hear about that one.
Morbid Estates was okay. I guess I have to step back a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were doing the home haunts in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
It had gone kind of nuts. I actually, earlier this week, I was looking for an old drawing of something, and I was digging through a box, and I found the old floor plans for the last year we did it. I realized we had almost a 15,000 square foot maze in my backyard, being like 18, 19 years old.
That's awesome.
Like I was the end of high school. The city shut us down.
Oh.
We were, back then, there was nights we were doing, like the weekends for Halloween, we were doing 3,000 people were showing up at my parents' house to go through this free haunted house.
Holy shit.
Like it was.
Free?
Yeah, we just did it in the backyard.
Wow.
Like it was just,
nice.
I wanted to build a haunted house.
Yeah.
And the city came in and shut it down.
Because
fire
you didn't
code,
have permits.
fire code permits. I
I
was a high school kid building a haunted house.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting in touch with. I started college then. That was right when I was starting college.
Mm-hmm.
We had wanted to move it out of my parents' backyard. We wanted to open a haunted house. So I ended up getting in touch with a farm, and they were doing like a corn maze, and they had wanted to do like a hayride through the woods.
Yeah.
So it was a buddy from college's family owned this farm, and he brought it up to me. He's like, "Hey, I know you can't do it in your backyard anymore. Why don't you bring it out to the farm?" So we did a year of that. It was a miserable year. It was. I'm gonna be honest. I was in over my head. It's my fault that didn't go well. I was 19 and I thought I was the biggest deal in haunted houses there ever was. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
All of my buddies it didn't want to do it. It was a rainy, cold October.
Yeah.
We only were able to open half the nights we were supposed to because it was pouring down rain and it was a cornfield and
so you did one season
of that.
Yeah.
So then we ended up teaming up with a charity. Well, a charity approached us about opening a haunted house for their benefit, which ended up being Morbid Estates.
Gotcha.
So we were in a supermarket, half a supermarket. It was a supermarket that had been subdivided into 2 units. So it honestly was some of the funnest time of my life. It was me and my new girlfriend, Nicole, who is now my wife.
Yeah.
And honestly, about 10 of our closest friends just kind of,
cool.
We lived in that supermarket.
Yeah.
We built, it was a 28,000 square foot building. We probably built about 15 to 18,000 of it of just haunted house. We did 3 shows.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool event. It was a shoestring event, but I felt like it was my redemption for messing up so bad at the farm where we actually it was I know my parents showed up and they're like, "Oh, this is actually a haunted house."
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
that's great.
Well, then, and that was only 1 year then too. We ended up ultimately losing the building because Planet Fitness bought us out of our lease. And, Planet Fitness taking over the world.
Yeah, just like Dollar Generals.
Yeah. So then,
bastards.
It was one crazy year of building a haunted house.
So that was Morbid Estates.
Yeah.
That's great.
Terrible name. I look back on that name and I'm like, that is a hard name to say. I don't think people know what morbid means.
I get it. I don't like the name. I don't want to, shit on what I'm doing, but when we decided on Blood Prison, I'm like, I don't like it. I just don't like it. And they're like, what don't you like about it? I'm like, it's Blood Prison. It's like, there's not blood on the wall. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we doing here?
I get it, but I think immediately when you say it, you think haunted house.
Yeah.
And that's something I feel like that I look back on Morbid Estates and I think I was thinking too much into the name where I wanted a deep name.
Yeah.
Whereas in reality, I'm working for the haunted schoolhouse and laboratory right now.
Yeah.
When you hear haunted schoolhouse, it sounds like a haunted house.
Right.
It's so simple, but it's kind of genius in a marketing sense.
That's what kind of brought me to it because they're like, look, it's easy. It's 2 easy words. Blood Prison. The website's going to be easy to find. It's going to be easy to market. That kind. I'm just like, oh, fuck, okay. Yeah. All right, So I kind of got outvoted on the whole thing, but I'm like...
I mean, I feel like the logo looks good then, too. Like, it's just like a,
Yeah.
It's like heavy. I'm looking at it on your shirt right now. It's just like, boom. It's like a stamp,
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the toughest thing, honestly, most of the time is, what the fuck are we going to call it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are we going to call this?
Yeah, that's the hardest part, naming things.
The first year here, Robert Kurtzman ran it. Okay, I mean, I ran it, but he had the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, before I got it, and I fought with him on this too. I'm like, this is the stupidest name ever, and nobody's going to be able to spell it. Paranormal Penitentiary is what he called his, and I love you, Bob. I'm sorry if you're hearing this, but it was just like, I'm like, dude, that name sucks. And he would call his writer friend. He's like, no, that's a good name, because he would, it would be a cool movie or something. I'm like,
see, I almost feel like that would be a better name for like the ghost hunts.
Yeah,
because when you think
that's exactly
I guess when you think, I think of paranormal, I don't think of haunted houses. I think of the paranormal. Like that's I think of ghosts and.
So paranormal means ghost hunting. He's like, no, paranormal, and he like got the definition. And was like, paranormal actually means blah, blah. And I'm just
it's
like...
anything out of the normal.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. But, hey, it's your show.
Para is the suffix for...
Fine, you got me, So, but I was just like, nah, it was the same thing. It's like, too big, too many syllables.
Yeah.
To say that.
Well, that's what, I'm going to be honest, that was actually the second draft of the name.
Yeah.
Originally, we thought about calling it the House of Morbidity, which is even more of a mouthful. Yeah. That's what we called the backyard haunted house.
Yeah. The House of Morbidity.
Yeah, which is just like, I guess I read a book when I was 15, and we started calling the backyard haunted house that.
Sounds like something out of the Hocus Pocus movie.
I don't even really know where it came from.
I'm just fucking with you, man. No, it's good stuff. I'm sure it was a great...
Man, I can't even believe that's still on my Facebook.
It is.
I haven't hid that.
Yeah, it's still on there. For everyone to see. That's how I saw it. I'm like, well... We got to figure out, in your about, you just go to about, and it's like, Morbid Estates.
I feel like I don't use Facebook all that much anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's an unfortunate necessity.
Yeah.
Facebook is, you know what I mean? But it's like,
I've been trying to stay
away. You almost got to have it,
Yeah. I feel like I found myself wasting too much time on it. Where, like, don't get me wrong, I feel like I still just sit there and I read like a BuzzFeed article or like just like 25 of the dankest memes this week. Like I find myself looking at that, but like I try not to just stare at it,
You're still on it for Haunt Hub.
Yeah.
Gotta love Haunt Hub.
That big skelly boy dancing just gets me every time.
Yes. That is good shit.
Yeah, man, I feel like we're really, I am on it for the groups. Like, I feel like I grew up with, like, the forums, like Haunt Forum and Halloween Forum and the Haunt World forums, and, like, all those died.
Yeah.
Like, no one's posting on them anymore.
It sucks because all the forums are dying out, and now everybody's, like, starting podcasts.
Really?
I don't know everybody's got one.
Should I start a podcast?
You should.
This? Can I use this studio?
I would. Absolutely, man. You choke all the way from Akron down to Mansfield.
Yeah, it was only like I think it said it was supposed to be 55 minutes.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not too bad.
Not a bad drive. So then, how did Closed Casket Studios come to be? Like, where did that come from?
So, as I was talking about Morbid Estates, my big thing is, like, I've always been wanting to just make stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was making stuff for Morbid. Like, everything was be made in-house. Like, we didn't have a budget, so we had to figure out how to make it.
Absolutely.
So, like, then when we lost the building, we sold the haunt, and I was still I wanted to make stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was just making stuff and thoughts of that. I was going to start another haunted house. I was going to go somewhere else and do a haunted house.
Yeah.
And we went to Transworld one year, and just some of our friends that were there were just like, man, why don't you just start selling this stuff? Like, you're making all that. Why are you making it? And at that point, like, I had just graduated college, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like I didn't really even have a plan. Like, it was just like I was bar backing, like, I was throwing around kegs in a cooler, like making the monsters was kind of my creative outlet that I had. And I mean, I had a talk with my wife and and it was just, I think I'm going to give this a go. Like, should I try this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm in my early 20s or mid 20s, I think at that point. Like, I think I need to go try this. Like,
Sure.
if I fail, I fail. And you know what? Like, I'll try to get a job somewhere else, you know?
So where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Akron, the Myers School of Art through the University of
So
Akron.
you went to an art school. Well,
Yeah.
okay, there you go. That's great though, because a lot of people's like, yeah, I went for engineering, but I'm doing this now.
My parents really wanted me to go to college. I never personally wanted to go, but then if they were going to try to make me go to college, I wanted to go to art school, and the only way I was going to art school is if I got most of it covered with scholarships. I ended up getting almost my full 5 years covered with scholarships.
Wow.
Like,
Big shot over here.
You know,
wanted you.
Yeah, like, it was just, like, I don't think I could do anything that's not art.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I have another path, like, and it was just, I mean, there was a lot of years of just being like, man, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, there was no end in sight, like, where this is like my only skill. And like, I mean, being a starving artist is only fun for so long,
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm not an artist in any shape, sense, anything. So like watching what you guys do was what always kind of drove me. And it's like, man, just some of your stuff is just out of this world, man.
And in reality, I didn't even go to school for 3D art. Like, I went to school for painting and printmaking.
Yeah.
Well, I started in graphic design because that was where my parents tried to push me, because they're like, it's art. You need to make money. You need to, like, if you're doing art, do like the technical arts.
Right. So you get a job.
I'm going to be honest. I made it about a year into graphic design before I had to I switched my major and didn't tell my parents right away. And then I was too far in. Like,
That's all right.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I was going to do painting, and then, I don't know, printmaking kind of sucked me in, where it's like, I feel like I'm very process oriented. I'm even that way with Closed Casket, like, where, like, literally I spent all of today, like, typing out, like, my paint Bibles and my foam Bibles and, like, all that stuff, where it's just, like, keeping it consistent. Like, I like having a process.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, really drew me to printmaking. I guess it helped that then my now wife was kind of queen bee in printmaking at the time. Like, it was a small department. There was only probably about 10 of us at that time.
Right on.
And I mean, that's how I ended up meeting my wife. And she just kind of pushed me forward with art. She was just like, you know what? You can do better. Do more. Like, it. Yeah. It was one of the first times in my life where I had someone who told me it was okay for me to be making creepy art. Like, I just had, she really pushed me to be able to speak on it. That, like, some of the times, like, there has to be some thought behind art, like, you have to, there's nothing wrong with making any type of art. It's just, you need to know why you're making it. Yeah. And she really helped me, kind of come to, like, gather my thoughts, I guess, of, like, why these things were pushing me forward.
Sure. That's great, though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a team.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. So she's part of your creative drive and vision, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm constantly coming to her with ideas, concepts, thoughts, like...
Yeah.
As... in a weird way, like, yeah, like, making Halloween masks and props, like, there's not always the most thought behind it.
Right.
But then, like, sometimes, like, she has to reel me back because I get, like, way too conceptual. Where, like, I'm thinking about, like, I'm 3 steps ahead, like, this was going to be my painting exhibition. Like, I'm going to be honest, most haunted houses don't get it. They don't care. They just care if it looks cool. Like, and I've come to more terms with that these last couple of years, where it's like, I just need to make something really cool. Like, something... I try to push myself on making things that I've never seen, like, twists on things that, like, I've never seen that, like...
Sure.
Where, like, I guess, like, in reality, we were talking earlier about vampires. I mean, there's only so many ways to make a vampire.
Right, yeah.
Before it turns into, like, a mutant or...
Well, some of that, too, is, a lot of the... like, I don't have a vampire. I don't think there's a vampire in our haunt anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But vampires don't go into prison, so why would I have that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, other things like just a zombie prisoner. Yeah, all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just depends on who you're going for. But even now, I don't know your first year at Transworld, but I know mine was like, I think it was 09 or 10 was the first year I was there, and it's different now. I mean, it just seemed like back then there was a few places that were like really stood out, and now it's everywhere you go. Yeah, there's just great stuff everywhere. Yeah, and you're looking at it under a microscope. Which some people don't get that either, and I'm sure you can attest to it. Is like you're not in, unless you're in the dark room. But I'm saying you're not in the haunt when you're selling this. You're under lights. Yeah, and people are just like, they're looking at every little detail, so it's gotta look good. You know what I mean? It can't be. You can't use that. Well, it's for a haunt excuse.
Not at all.
It's gotta look amazing, and some people just don't understand that. Yeah, you get it,
dude. I honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm too meticulous on things. Where like my buddy Matt, who also works at the schoolhouse with me, comes out and helps at Closed Casket. Yeah. And he'll go through like my scrap bin, like things that I'm like castings I personally don't think met the level that they should be at. And he's like, "What's wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one? Well, can I paint this one and take it home? Can I take like?" And it's just like, and he's like, "You could sell that one." And it's just like, but there's like a bubble there, and like there's it got kind of warped here, and like, and he's like, "Yeah, but it's going into a haunt." But like, people are looking at it like
it's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way when I go up to something that I'm buying. I don't sit there and go, well, it's going to be in the dark part of the haunt. So I'm like, no, I want it to look badass.
Well, that's like the thing. Sometimes I feel like we buy stuff and we don't fully have a plan of where it's going.
That too.
Maybe it is going to be in bright light. Maybe, plans change. I feel like building haunts, I feel like, especially like me and you both are building in, 100-plus-year-old buildings. Yes. Like sometimes stuff doesn't fit where you think it's going to go. We're competing with real walls. We're competing with. Yeah. And it's just like, well. Okay.
I saw a couple things this year. I was just like, I fucking want that. But I have no idea what I would do with it, where it would go. I think I just want it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Constantly. Yeah. Constantly, I have to talk myself out of stuff.
Whether it's a prop, a mask, and I don't wear masks. I don't act. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but you see that thing and you're just like, oh, that would be so badass.
Yeah. Constantly.
Where would I put that, though? I'd come back and they'd be like, what the fuck is this for? I don't know.
Yeah.
My office.
That's what then you got to make space for it,
Yeah. So what was your first year at Transworld then? Like with Closed Casket?
2016.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was the first year we vended at Transworld. Our first show was MHC 2015. Mm-hmm. So
which is,
Yeah, it used to be in Columbus though, it was in our backyard where like I had a good time at the show in Columbus.
No, always had fun. Vending at it, we never really did much.
It was sporadic. Yeah. I feel like there was years I was like, holy crap, we did this at MHC. Mm-hmm. And then there was years I was like, well, I can fill the truck up with gas on the way home. Like,
We'll get home. Does that matter?
Well, and that's what, I would love to do MHC again. Eventually I'll go out to the Chicago show. And we did it the first year in Chicago. And
I haven't been to it.
I think we're going to go out just to be like patrons this year. Yeah. Just check it out. It's been a couple years.
Yeah. Chicago's a great town, man. Yeah. I love going there.
Well, that's why that first year was in Schaumburg, and it was. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, in a weird like oasis in a parking lot. It was just like this hotel and nothing around it, and
wasn't very good.
It was all right.
Yeah. I haven't been to it since the last year in Columbus. Okay. And I remember from the second to last year to the last year, I remember I walked in and I was like,
see that last year in Columbus,
where's everything at?
Everyone gives like horror stories of that last year. Yeah. That was one of our best years.
Really? Because there was nobody else there.
I think that's the thing. I think it was because we were one of 12 vendors.
I'm like, are they going to, it's like, why aren't people still loading in? What the hell's going on?
Well, I know that year I booked a booth and they called me 3 or 4 times to move my booth closer to the front. Yeah. They just kept being like, well, that aisle didn't sell. Like, we're going to bump you up. And I was like, all right. Yeah. All right. Wait, what do you mean? I'm like, now it's like, man,
They worked out for you, though.
That was a great year, man. Like,
hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I wish it was back in Columbus.
I really miss Columbus.
I'm going to go out there and say it. I'm not.
No, I wish it was, too. I wish it was. Like,
just because it's an hour away.
Yep. Hour and 45 for me, you know?
It was so much more convenient for me.
Well, that was even like the thing where like I had like friends that lived in Columbus where it was just like it was always like it was a party weekend, you know? Like I got to see people I got to see my haunt friends, I got to see my friends like from growing up that live down there. Like
I have a couple relatives down there, so like the first couple years I could crash with them.
Yeah.
Didn't have to get a hotel, I could just crash at my cousin's house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just hang out. So it was good. It was good times. So you mentioned that you work at the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. So how did that come to be? And how fun is it balancing that and Closed Casket?
So there was a time period where I was working for another company. I was working for Evolutions. We were building escape rooms.
Yeah.
When John purchased the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, he had hired us to build escape rooms. And I had ultimately met some of the people that were working at Akron. Obviously, Akron's a little closer to me, and I ended up coming on that first year as just a makeup artist. Mm-hmm. They were like, Dave, you're a monster guy. Come paint some people. So that first season, I just did makeup. Like, I came in. I just wanted to be part of Akron. The Schoolhouse is one of the shows that was a big inspiration for me. Like, it was one of the big dogs when I was growing up, you know? Like,
sure.
It was legendary back then, and like here we are, 20 years later. That
it's been a while.
I mean, it's the 50th season this year.
That's crazy. That's crazy to even think about.
Yeah, where like I just want to be part of it at some point. Like I just loved that show. Mm-hmm. So I came on. I ended up leaving Evolutions, and I was just doing Closed Casket for I was just doing my own thing, making monsters. Mm-hmm. And I got a phone call that was just like, hey, you want to come on? We need some people to build some monsters. We need some sets painted. Like, come on. And I just never left.
So now you go with the building now.
Yeah.
Everything is there.
And then balancing the two is definitely difficult.
Yeah, I bet it is.
That's what I'm right now, it's awesome. Like John's an awesome owner. Like he kind of lets me, when I need the time, I can take the time. Like that's where right now I'm not working full time. I'm able to work on Closed Casket and work. I can go down to part time. I can pick up that one day a week if that's what I want.
Right. That's cool.
And and that's it kind of I had to get good at making the schedules and being like, okay, I need to know when to say when with Closed Casket, where it's just like, I can't take any more orders or, hey, I can't do this build. Like, I need to know when to say when. And
yeah, that's tricky.
It gets tricky. Tricky. And I feel like it kind of sucks when everything just kind of collides in that same 2-month time period every year. But
it's like you said earlier, it's hard to say no to, someone's like, hey man, I need these, I want these, and you're just like, I don't got time.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, I would rather say no than take someone's money and not deliver.
Yeah.
I'd rather just not be that guy who's just saying yes to everything and screwing a bunch of people over,
Absolutely. So what do you do then on a nightly basis while you're at, during Halloween season, September, October? What do you do at the schoolhouse and laboratory? Like, you run the show.
A little bit of. I'm not. Well, I've had to step away from makeup now. Yeah. I honestly do a little bit of everything. That's what You
ever get out there anymore? Get a costume on and.
It's been a couple years. I feel like the Valentine's Day commercials we do is the closest I get to acting anymore. Where I'm just a sleazy car lot guy. I'm a sleazy infomercial.
Yeah. You miss it?
At times,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've talked about this in other episodes, where I'll go attack some people with a puppet or something every once in a while,
Yeah.
it just gets harder and harder to get into costume when, I end up having to go get screamed at by
a guest
about how they don't understand how time ticketing works, or
yeah,
that they're not the only people that showed up, the third Saturday of October. And what do you mean there's a line?
Yeah. That same shit you got to deal with every year. And you're just like, holy shit, are you kidding me?
And that's why I feel like I just like, they always send me out because I'm the one that can put on a happy face, and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But
well, you got to admit, and I'm sure I know you've heard this before. I know you have. You got to send the guy out who looks like Seth Rogen.
Oh, God damn it.
Kind of sounds like him.
What?
So you send you out to be like, all right, Zach and Miri make a porno. Get out there. Make this better for us.
Yeah. Well, that's what 2021. I actually got COVID in the middle of October. Like, I got laid up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know, the Acton Schools and Laboratory, it's on 7 different floors of 2 different buildings.
Yes. Yeah.
I couldn't walk up those stairs.
No?
Dude, it kicked my ass.
Yeah.
And while I was cleared to come back, it was middle of October, and they're like, Dave, you're doing customer service. They just wanted to see, like, half alive Dave, like, yelling at people, being like, no, I'm not refunding these tickets because you have to wait in line. Like,
oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Hate that shit, man, when they're like, I've been waiting for 2 hours or 3 hours, and it's like, okay, it's the third weekend in October. What do you want me to tell you? This is even before time ticketing, and it's like, I mean, have never been here?
Well, it's like, how do you think you're the only one showing up that weekend?
Yeah.
Also, like, you had to, like, drive by and see there's 1,000 cars in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you can see the line. Like, there was nights where, like, the line wrapped around the building. Like, you could see that line before you pulled in. Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
You could buy a fast pass. Like,
exactly.
You could buy a fast pass. Well, I bought my ticket online. That should count.
Okay, so you bought it online, which means you know how to read, especially that part that says no refunds. Yeah. At all for any reason. It's, you need your guests, but at the same time, there's always those ones. And I think we're at that place in a society, and we've been there for so long, where, like, everybody's looking for a reason to sue you or piss and moan and try and get more money or give me a T-shirt. What? No, dude.
Yeah, like...
Are you serious? Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Where
this year I did get a step away from a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have to do that as much this season. I feel like we've gotten some of our ducks in a row, and, like, everyone has their tasks, and, like, it's a little less of whoever has a free time to, like, whoever's not actively having to handle a situation, like, go talk to that lady.
We went to your Valentine's Day event. I've only been to one. It was 18 or 19. We came up for it, and I was kind of blown away about how much, like, holy shit, there's a lot of people here. You know what I mean? Even the off-season events are getting
they're getting crazy.
Kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's what Valentine's Day is. A monster of a weekend. We do, and part of me, I'd like to toot my own horn on it. That it like we went with more of a comedy route for Valentine's Day.
Sure, yeah.
Where, like, normally we treat the show of, if you can't scare them, make them laugh. We're entertainers.
Absolutely.
Like, on Valentine's Days, if you can't make them laugh, scare them. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the flip. Like, it's a living dad joke, and it's just gotten weirder and weirder and weirder.
Living dad joke, that's good.
It's like taking a life of its own.
Yeah.
Where, like, our returning staff is just getting weirder and weirder with their characters, and like, it's honestly I might like Valentine's Day more than I like main season, just because it's so fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's such
I feel you.
Like, you laugh so hard going through the show. Like,
you know what I hate is, like, we do a Christmas thing here.
Yeah.
Now we can't open the whole thing because, like, we have to tear the cell blocks down every year. Okay, because the building's a museum and people tour and all that good shit. So we got to tear that down. So we do a Christmas show, and we cut the price, and we just do the only areas that we can leave up, which is still, it's 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, depending on, how fast you're walking. But we do a Christmas show, and I get so many people that tell me, they're like, we love your Christmas show. We love it better than Halloween. I'm like, come on, dude.
That's
really?
what I've heard great things about your Christmas. I was trying to come down this year.
It drives me nuts when I hear that. I'm just like, God damn it, what do we got to do? Everyone's like, shut the cell blocks down. I'm like, no freaking way. No way. Do you know what we put into that?
I understand, like, because we can only open the schoolhouse on the off-season events, like especially like Valentine's Day, because the lab, it does not have heat. Yeah. And if you don't want frostbite by the time you leave, we probably shouldn't open it. Yeah. So we do the school, and people are always like, oh, it's only one of the shows. And it's like, yeah, but like we do so much in the show. Like that's like the thing where we try to go so over the top, like so many decorations, like so much we try to put into the show to make it worth it. Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, people seem to love it, but
no, it's pretty killer.
So that's I feel like if you came in 19, that was when it first took the turn towards the comedy. Mm-hmm. Like,
there was a big fat guy in a Cupid diaper, and Tater was walking around with as like an old man or something, holding up this sign.
Because I think that was the first year we did the commercials. Yeah, that were like the infomercials. Yeah, where like, and now it's just gone. Like, I mean, we've done we've done like 4 or 5 of them at this point, and it just,
you almost got to do it. And now you're looking at it like, okay, well, we need all this for Halloween. Now we need all this for Valentine's Day, or we need this for some other event that's going on.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like I feel like we're trying to figure out, like, because then we do like halfway to Halloween where we do like Monster Mania, where it's kind of like our interpretation of movie monsters and like the classics. And then like we've toyed with the idea of doing Christmas, and it's just like it's so much. We end up like, we actually got shipping containers this year to try to be able to like delegate like storage for each of these events. So like this is the Valentine's Day box, and this is the Monster Mania box, and this could be the Christmas box, and this is storage, and this is
you got to but it's turned into that, and it's fucking awesome because now once you figure it out, and I'm still trying to figure it out, I don't know about you, but once you figure it out, you're like, holy shit, Halloween basically all year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, you get to do other events. Like we do the Christmas show, and someone asked me about a Valentine's. Like, you know what? I don't think I'll have time to do that. But we also do a Incarceration, which is the Tattoo and Music Festival. So we get to open for that. So we get like Halloween and 2 off-season events. Okay. And it's great. I mean, you know, it's like, it keeps us focused on Halloween all the time. And before, it was really seasonal.
Yeah. You know? My only complaint about it is sometimes, like, right now, we're, like, trying to schedule builds around opening, where it's just well, let's not bite off more than we can chew. Like, we at that, if we're doing halfway to Halloween sometime in May, everything we're working on right now needs to be done by May. Right. Yeah. And that's what, like then you end up pushing the projects back past that to be like, okay, well, this is a bigger project, but then you're running out of time, and it's just the constant juggle. It is. It
doesn't seem to go away, but again, it's good though because you're still working on it. You know, I mean, I feel just completely blessed, honored that, you know, I get to work Halloween stuff all year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not a lot, you know, you don't get a lot of that. A lot of people can't do that. They want to, but they can't, you know, it's like, man, I'd work for you. I'm like, I understand, but I don't have anything for it.
Well, that's like, you know? I will get like frustrated or like angry or feel like burnt out, and I'll just be like, I don't know, like I don't want to do this. And then like my wife will reel me back in, being like, this is all you've ever talked about the entire time like I've known you, is that like this is what you want, like you're living your dream. Yeah. And like, and she's like, would you want to go back to working in a bar? And it's just like, oh, no. Yeah. So like, no matter how stressed out I get, like I'm still doing like my dream, you know, like I've always wanted to like do this stuff. And now like, it's crazy that it kind of happened.
Yeah. Like, but you can't, but it's holy shit. Yeah. You know, you're making haunted house stuff and working. It's fucking great.
Well, that's what like, I'm making Halloween masks since like the first week of March right now.
Yeah. Now, when you were acting, okay, did you have like a favorite character you would do, or did you just be like, just give me some makeup or a mask and put me out there?
Oh, so when I used to I used to love to be Jebediah Clearwater. Okay. Where it was just like a weird schizophrenic hillbilly weirdo. Like it was. I feel like I had like a cowl that like it was like an old Freddy Krueger mask I repainted that was like the face was ripped out. It was like some weird thing, and I don't know, like it was always just kind of ranting and fidgety, and
that's what that was your
you
did that everywhere you went.
No, I mean there were switch ups of it, but I feel like that was like my old standby. Like if I was gonna do it, was just
that's all reliable there. Your go to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, that's why, and that was a character from when we did Morbid Estates that we had a show called Infestation, and it was like post-apocalyptic kind of hillbilly kind of. It was like a show we literally built out of piles of junk, where it was just like anything that wasn't a wall panel that could be a wall panel was the wall panel. You know, where like we had we got a whole bunch of big old like vacuform signs off of buildings, and we had them, and it was just piles of junk, like we
right on,
and that's where Jebediah lived.
This mutant from the post-apocalyptic world of toxicity. I can see it already. I'm sure you were great at it. No, I did 1 year this past year. I mean, I would like, you heard me say I would do the big, like we had a big Gorgolor rat, and I loved running that thing, and that was fun. We had these werewolves that we would, there's actor control, and I'd go down there and dick around. Well, this year I actually got into not makeup, but I just threw a jumpsuit on and just a latex half mask, and went out and just kind of just had fun doing it. And I actually had a blast doing it, and got kind of a new appreciation for that side, because I always have had it, but I got even more of an appreciation doing all that. Not being able to talk the next day, not being able to barely freaking move. I was just exhausted. That was one day. And then I went like balls out the whole time. You know what I mean? So everyone's just like, you tell us not to do that, and here you are. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of fun. But one thing I could not do was like, because like the one makeup artist here is like, what do you want to do? What do you want to put on you? I'm like, I need a mask. I wouldn't have been able to do it unless I knew I was covered. You know what I mean? Because I just felt exposed. That's the one thing where I was like, I don't see how y'all do this without something covering you, hiding you. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like the makeup's covering you though. Like I just know there was I know there was a time when we were doing Morbid that I didn't get in character every night there. It was just kind of like when things were running smooth, you know what? Like I have a minute. Like I'm gonna get in character. Like and I put on put on the makeup, put on the costume, and I walked out in character, and my mom didn't realize it was me. So, like, that was where it's like, I mean, the thing is, I still look like me. Like, I'm still wearing my glasses. I'm blind as a bat. I wrapped them in tape. So they'd look like something else that wasn't the pair of Ray-Bans I was wearing, like... I covered up the logo, and I messed up my hair, like, I feel like makeup can do a lot. I feel like that's why, like, I don't know, like, I always like the blood and stuff. Like, I feel like I feel like part of acting is feeling uncomfortable in reality, like, whether you're wearing a mask or, what, like.
Well, once I put it on, I was fine. I just felt like, okay, I can come out a little bit. Yeah. And I did. Once I got in there and, just started... kind of doing stuff, I was like, oh, this is actually really fun.
Oh, it's great. It's a great time. I mean? That's I miss it. I probably should put on a costume some night.
Absolutely, man. Just a throwback, man. Just bring that character back out and go just...
I feel like I want to do something different then now. It's been some years, But
then you got to figure out what that's going to be, and
I mean, I guess I
create all that.
I got like 9 months. Wait, no.
Yeah.
7 months. 7 months right now. It's October, right? I got some time right now.
There you go. So you heard it here. Akron Haunted Schoolhouse is going to have somebody. Dave's going to be in character out there.
I mean,
I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Oh no.
I'm going to come to that. What day are you doing it? I'm coming.
I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call and be like, hey, shut down Blood Prison tonight. Come out and see me.
Are you guys do Thursdays up there?
I do not believe so this year. Okay. We haven't done them the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, like with COVID, we cut the schedule a little shorter, and I feel like we're kind of trying to bring back and testing nights and stuff.
I kind of hate it because we used to do when I first started this, we would do every Thursday through Sunday, except for the first weekend. The first weekend was Friday through Sunday, but every weekend after that was Thursday through Sunday. And then I think it was after COVID we nixed the Thursdays And it was like, holy shit, this is actually a lot better.
It's easier on the crew, man.
It is.
Yeah, like...
It is. But my event went from 23 days to 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, oof.
Well, and that's what, like, in a weird way, like, our Sundays were crazy this year.
Yeah.
Like, we've never... Like, Sundays used to be kind of hit or miss. And this year, it was just like, oh, my gosh. Like, what is going on a Sunday? Like...
It's kind of odd. But, you know, I think...
I'm okay with not doing Thursdays, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
so am I. So am I.
Well, because that's, like, I feel like... I know, like... Well, you're a little closer to, like, Ohio State and stuff. They don't do classes on Fridays, right?
Oh, I have no idea. But I know
I mean, you're not that close, though. You're also, like...
I'm an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, when you leave and head home, you'll see a sign that says Cleveland, 70 miles. Columbus, 70 miles. We're exactly dead center.
In the middle.
Yeah. So we kind of pull from both markets, but at the same time, we're not in those markets. So nobody's going to drive from Cleveland or Columbus on a Thursday night to come here. You know, even if it's, you know, the reformatory. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
I feel like Thursday nights are kind of weird.
Yeah. I think if you're in a Cleveland or Columbus, you can pull it off better.
Yeah.
But in a Mansfield, it just doesn't make any sense. So I was glad we got rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's just, it's like you said.
Well, except I like Thursdays because since now we aren't doing Thursdays, I can see other shows on Thursdays.
That's why I asked if you were open Thursdays.
Yeah. I don't think we're doing any Thursdays this year. I haven't looked at what our schedule is quite yet.
Just text John and be like, Vic wants to come up on a Thursday.
I mean, you can come up whenever, Vic.
Yeah, but I'm here.
Yeah, but you could just like call me any day and be like, "Hey, I want to come see the show." Like,
okay, well,
I'm passing by, and if I'm there,
oh, okay. Well, we've come up. Well, you know, we came up and did the escape rooms, which were awesome. Which I still don't know why. Like last time I talked to John, I actually took his one seminar at Transworld this year about midway experiences, because I really want to do something like that here. And he even said then, he goes, well, you know, we do this, and then we got the escape rooms, although we don't open them. They haven't been open for a couple of years. I'm like, why don't you open these things, man? Come on, what's up? They're badass.
I honestly do not know why.
Yeah.
Like,
we had a great time. We did both of them.
Hey, thanks. I helped build those. That was my old job.
Oh, yeah? They're awesome. And the picklebacks were great.
Okay.
Yeah. Not really, but, you know, thanks for them. You want to know what happened on the way home that day?
What?
So we
because you had like a party bus and everything.
Oh yeah, we had a party bus.
Because you had like a driver who like came in that was like, oh hey guys, and we're like, oh hey, are you here with the group? He's like, no, I'm the driver. And I'm like, what?
We had a driver. Yeah, it was like we just called him up, get over here. But yeah, we what that bus is the Shawshank tour bus. So
you guys just like carjacked it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's Mansfield. Well, you're Akron, same thing. No, they bought it. And they sell tickets, and that bus will drive you from here to different filming locations of the Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
So that's why we have that. And I guess we're getting another one because that is it's a huge deal. So we took that up there, right? We hang out, and John was great as usual, just feeding us alcohol and everything else, which is fine, you know, because we're not driving. It's no big deal. The one girl, like we went, I don't even remember where we went to eat after that, but we go to eat later. And we're driving home, and she just has her backpack, and she's just like, and just Ralphs into her. And she did it like, you know, we're all sitting there just kind of whatever. And only the person sitting next to her, like, realized that she did that. I didn't even know. And she goes, we get off the bus. She's one of my zone leaders. She gets off. She's like, I puked on the way home. I was like, where? She's like, in my backpack. Oh, my God. This is showing up and it's all wet on the. Oh, dude, get that out of here! But yeah,
sorry about that.
Yeah, picklebacks.
Oh, I don't like pickleback.
Actually, I was kind of surprised when I first drank the first one. I was like, "It's actually ain't that bad." But after the third, I'm like, "I don't want any more."
Yeah, I feel like I'm not that big of a pickle guy, and I feel like drinking pickle juice.
Yeah,
it's pickle juice and Jameson, right?
And Jameson, yeah.
I'm more of a beer guy.
Yeah, me too. I'm more of a beer guy, but I got 2 bottles of whiskey in my office in there.
And a secret bottle of Tito's.
And yeah. Well, that's not really a secret, but yeah, people, it's funny because people like will bring me, I'm not drinking water right now. I really don't drink that much. I really don't. But people always bring me alcohol. Like, hey man, I saw this and thought you might like it. I'm like, oh, thanks.
I feel like that's something also I've realized over these last couple years where, like I was gifted all these bottles of like liquor for like my birthday and like special occasions. And then I don't really drink much liquor. Like I feel like I'm a beer guy through and through. And then I'm just like, well, we have like our Christmas party at our house. That's like, okay, you guys drink some of this. We don't need 15 bottles of booze. Like,
well, and then you try to at least enjoy it, like try it out, you know, but it's just like, okay.
I feel like I don't have the palate for some of it where I'm like, I can't tell the difference. Whereas like you could put two like beers in front of me. Like, I feel like I'm like a beer nerd and like I could talk about notes and whatnot. But like, oh, you give me 2 glasses of bourbon, I'm not going to be able to really tell you the difference.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I like when I'm drinking beer, I tell this, people always laugh when I say this, but I'm like, I like my beer in the green bottles. I like Heineken, Beck's, Stella, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You know, skunky, smells the same going in as it does coming out type of thing. I mean, it's what I like, you know.
See, that's what, like, okay, so we're from Akron. There, we do the Summit Brew Path. It's like you get like a passport.
Yeah.
And there is it 28 breweries in Summit County? Maybe 20 some breweries. And like, I mean, I can throw a rock and hit a brewery from everywhere. Like from my house, I can throw a rock and hit 2. From the hunt, I can throw a rock and hit 3.
Yeah.
And like they're everywhere. So like my logic is I like if I'm gonna drink a beer, I want to drink a different beer.
Yes.
And like a lot, like we're going to all these micro brews, and it's just like you never know what you'll find. Like why just drink like a Bud Light?
Yeah.
You know, like
exactly. Oh, I'm the same way. Same way. I don't think the last time I had a Bud Light, I don't even remember. You know what I mean? It's just like, if you're going to have something, make it...
Transworld, probably. You probably had...
No.
What?
No.
I feel like you look around, and if you ever notice, like, all the vendors are just... I guess it's not Bud Light, it's Budweiser bottles.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, the only beer that's not, like, you have to mortgage your house to get, like, 3 of.
Well, and you got to wait. If you're at the Marriott bar, you're going to wait for 20 minutes. At least. Usually more to get a beer.
Well, I feel like that it just like turns into a crowd. Well, I think it's because everyone does the same thing where someone's waiting there and you see someone you know waiting there. So you tag along and it's no longer an order for 3 beers.
Yeah.
Because that person's ordering another 5. And then that guy's getting beers for all of his groups. So he sees you and he's like, well, man, just get out. I got cash. Just like.
Yeah. Yeah. Same way, dude.
Yeah, so that it's no longer like if it was just those 3 beers, it probably would be quicker. But everyone's ordering 40.
Well, yeah, and if you do get up there by yourself, it's like it makes more sense to be like, just give me 2.
You got
like that way I don't got to come back.
You got like a bucket I can put these in.
Yeah.
Well, that's what one year at Transworld, we walked down the street to, I think was it the Pint and Slice? It was like a pizza and beer that had like a beer wall. And going back to the joke you made about me earlier, we were leaving there. We're like almost to like the city museum.
Okay.
We're like walking back towards the Marriott, and this whole party was on they're having a party on a balcony of like a building, and they start yelling, Seth Rogen, smoke us out. They're screaming. They're all trying to like throw beers and stuff down to us. It was the year Transworld was in May. Because then a golf cart with rims pulled up and was like, hey, Seth Rogen, you need a ride? And I'm like, well, I'm not Seth Rogen, but I'll take a ride. And he's like, okay, it's like $5 a person or something like that. So, like, you know, like 12 of us load on to like this XL like limo of a golf cart.
That's awesome.
And he's like, oh, yeah, with the $5, you also get a beer.
There you go.
So then everyone got a beer. And then the rest of that whole trip, we kept just waving him down. And he would drive us around the Marriott, and we'd get beers.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to wait in line at the hotel.
That's a fucking way to go.
Yeah.
All because you look like Seth Rogen.
I guess so, man. Like Matt, who works in the schoolhouse with me, we've like gone on like other trips where he comes and works Closed Casket at Transworld.
Yeah.
We've gone on a couple like legendary haunt tours and stuff. And every single one of those trips, he keeps a tally of how many people bring that up to me. Where I didn't see it until a video was brought to my attention last week. It's like him and Nardwar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, we do look alike. He's like wearing a flannel with like a hoodie and like a hat. And I'm just like, oh
shit.
I do kind of look like Seth Rogen. This is weird. This is real weird.
Hey, you could look like someone else that's way worse off. Seth Rogen's not that bad.
I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
Mine's getting chased down the streets of St. Louis and having to get on a golf cart, but it could be worse. It could be worse.
I don't think I've ever said that to you, though. I don't think I've ever.
No, you've never said that to me. Like,
because some people would just be
gonna
like,
listen to this and like die because he thinks it's so funny.
Yeah, I was telling somebody I think it was today or yesterday. They were asking, well, who do you got coming on? Oh, Dave Shonk. This guy here that looks like Seth Rogen. And they're like, holy shit, he does. I'm like, I know, right?
I can't do the laugh though because I was like, well, maybe that can be like a bar trick, If I can do the Seth Rogen laugh, maybe we can get free beers.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't do that belly laugh.
Yeah, well, hey, just keep working at it.
I know.
You got the look. You got that down, so you're good to go.
Was that in your notes?
No, Seth Rogen is,
roast Dave about being Seth Rogen.
No, that one. I was like, I'm gonna feel you out for a minute and see how you would take it. And I'm like, I think he's gonna be all right.
Dude, it happens at least once a month.
Yeah.
Like we go going on trips and stuff. It's like Matt. Like I think it was when we were in New Orleans. I think Matt counted 6 people saying it.
Yeah.
Some guy stopped me at Transworld this year while we were setting up the booth and was like, "Oh, I didn't know Seth Rogen made stuff." And he's like, "Oh, you're not Seth Rogen." And I'm like, "Yeah, like I am. You think Seth Rogen makes Halloween masks? Like, I don't know." Like,
yeah, no, probably not. It's funny though when you see those people that are fucking doppelgangers, man. There's a guy, I can't think of his name, but we had a Christmas party this year, and I know you won't know the guy I'm talking about because you're all young and shit.
Sorry.
But there's a guy. He came with one of my security people, and she's been with me forever. So I walk up and I was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Not much." And this is my friend. I don't remember his name, so and so. And I was just like, "It's fucking Joe Walsh." She's like, "Yeah, I've never heard that before." This dude looked just. If you don't know who Joe Walsh is, he's just some rock star from the '70s guy. He was in the Eagles and he had a handful of hits. But I'm like, and he has a weird voice and he's just got a weird look. And I'm like, you look just like him. It's freaking me out. I almost want to get a picture with him. You know what I mean? And be like, look, you came to the Blood Prison party. But yeah, you always see those people that just kind of, you're blown away by, holy shit, you look so much like him. It's kind of freaky,
I get that. I mean, I don't think I look that much like Seth Rogen. But then there's
you look enough like him.
I could be like his weird brother.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Maybe a cousin.
Yeah.
I feel like it's at a distance. It's always like across a restaurant. Somebody else is.
And then they get right on you. Oh.
Yeah.
Don't you love that? Oh, wait a minute. Fuck you. So what does the future hold, man, for Closed Casket? I know that, Transworld is a thing. But and you're doing the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse. What are you looking at? How do you expand that line?
Well, years ago I did make bodies for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at maybe potentially bringing back like the full figures,
like static.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, but then also I've been kind of going back and forth with another company about maybe teaming up and doing some animations.
Hell yeah!
I mean. I feel like I fully haven't. It really got kicked off at Transworld this year that we started talking about it, and we've joked about it for years, and now it's just like, you know what, maybe we should do this.
Was it the people right across from you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, like I've known. Am I allowed to say it?
You got to get the clearance.
Hey, she's my wife is my censor, and she's sitting on the other side of the room. That's why I've known Mike from Hallucination Creations for years.
Yeah.
And he's one of my best friends. Like we live 3 states apart from each other, but like me and him talk on the phone almost every day.
That's cool.
And like we both have our own expertise. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the thing where like he is an animatronics wizard. Like whereas I can maybe put a motor on something, make it spin, like I've tinkered with it, but like I feel like no way could I do that. Whereas then he feels the same way about art. Whereas like we've worked together on a lot of projects in the past, and it's like, well, why don't we just do this?
Right.
But I mean, there's a little bit more of us trying to figure out how to do this fully, and not make it a pipe dream,
Sure.
But
well, I mean, that is it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because they've definitely got all the mech. You know what I mean? It's all there, and just putting your stuff on it would be.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, honestly, like, I mail Mike a ton of stuff to put on mix. Like, Mike, like people buy from both of us because they're putting it together. Why don't we put it together?
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like our thought. Like,
we had a guy come to the booth this year, and we got this werewolf puppet. Okay, and we do pretty good with it. It's pretty.
It was a very pretty puppet.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty cool prop.
It was cool.
This guy comes up now. It's just a push out puppet. It's got 2 hand controls. The head will move back and forth, and you can move it up and down. It's a cool prop.
If you had the alien puppet this year too, right?
Yeah, we did. We had that.
That alien's sick.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
It's cool.
That brought people into the booth for sure.
Yeah.
But this one guy comes up and he goes, I want one of these werewolf puppets. I'm like, all right, sweet. We're just talking about it. He's like, what do we got to do to make the mouth move up and down? You ever get those guys that are just like, can you make the eyes blink? And can you make the eyes look back and forth? And, all that good stuff. And you're just sitting there like, dude, what's going on? Oh, yeah, go ahead. You're good.
I thought something serious was happening.
I know. I saw you look over. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, I saw them doing
yeah, they're all doing
throwing
the
up gang signs and stuff.
No, you're fine. But you know what I mean, though. It's like we love it, but we want it to do this.
That has been my wonderful. I pick Mike's brain all the time.
Yeah.
We have actually bought a lot of custom mechs and stuff from Mike at Loose Nations. For Akron, where sometimes I can even just send him a little thumbnail sketch of what we were thinking, and he can help us bring it to life.
Right on. That's
where
cool.
I'm not as animatronically I don't know how to weld,
yeah, me neither.
Where and he can bring some of that stuff where he sees it and he'll be like, you know what, this is great, but you need this, and this, and he can see that part of it, whereas then.
You just don't. That's not your.
Yeah.
So teaming up would be kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, and that's what we've known each other for years. I'm excited. I'm trying to get the ducks in a row. I don't want to half-ass it. If we're gonna take a step to do something like that,
Well, hey, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen, don't come at me.
That's all right though. That would be fucking interesting though to see some of your shit on an animatronic. Now, when and I'm sorry, I don't know if you get these kind of questions a lot, but like I said, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. So when I worked at Creature Core, the early days when Robert Kurtzman was running it, and we'd have all these high-end movie guys come in.
Yeah.
I would just sit there and it would be just this, giant rectangle of clay. And the next thing you know, I'd come back, and a couple hours later, and it's just what the hell? And it's how did you know that's what because you do all the sculpting on that, yeah?
Most of it. That's why I've been lucky these last couple of years and been able to work with some other artists and bring in people that I like friends and other people I've looked up to. I've been able to bring on some buy molds and buy masters or have people sculpt something for me. Because I'm gonna be honest, every once in a while I get sick of just painting stuff I've sculpted.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want something a little that isn't my wheelhouse.
Now, do you have a general concept of what you're gonna sculpt, or do you just all right, here we go?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm constantly drawing.
Yeah.
I have sketchbooks everywhere.
That's awesome.
Where I'm always, even if it's just a little. Well, honestly, a lot of times they're not finished drawings. I feel ever. Where sometimes I just kind of draw something a little doodle, and you're you know what, I kind of like that. Maybe I'll draw a little better. Keep.
Yeah.
But that's what I always am drawing, and I'm gonna be honest, I have 15 years of notebooks of just monsters that I'm
So there's plenty of stuff in the chamber that could be coming out.
Yeah, and then that's what
that's good though.
It goes to time. I feel I would always be sculpting if I could. But
what's your percentage as far as when you go when you're prepping for Transworld? You're gonna go to Transworld, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have this line already. We got all the pumpkins. We got the big heads. All that crazy shit you do. What's your percentage of? All right, we need this much new. How does that go into you going into Transworld every year? So people are gonna always buy this, but they want to see that new shit.
I feel I usually try to sculpt or buy molds for at least 10 new things.
Yeah.
I went a little nuts this year, and it was, I think, 16 or 18. Wow. There's been years it's been smaller, but sometimes I start with a plan and it goes off the plan, and I'm gonna be honest, right now there's 3 or 4 sculptures that didn't get molded for Transworld. You'll probably see them on next year's lineup. You know, if I can keep them alive long enough to mold them. But it's just always, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times I try to sculpt what I want to sculpt, like something I want to see. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't always pan out, where sometimes I get a little too high concept and we never sell it in the mold. Survives a year and I smash it and it's gone to the world. And
that is always the rough part is trying to, because I always, people will sit there and say, nah, but this would be cooler. Like, I get this a lot. Like, this guy used to work with me. You're a prison. Why the fuck do you have clowns in your prison? I'm like,
yeah, why do you have clowns?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't want them. Okay, honestly, it's like clowns have never done anything for me.
Yeah,
okay? I'm not saying I don't want them. I'm just saying that it's like
I don't really like clowns either.
I'm
over it, and I feel like the customers want it. Like, I mean, I'm sure you get the phone calls. They're like, "You guys got any clowns?"
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
that's why you do it, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find that balance of, okay, do I really go to see clowns? I don't, but I would venture to say 85% of your customers would be like, we're the clowns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you've got other places that just don't do them, and they do fine.
Yeah.
But, like, we've had them for so long, I know if I didn't have them, I would get that, like, where the hell are they?
So we changed up our clowns. We used to have, like a traditional, like, carnival scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I just want to do something. Last year, we ended up building, it's a house having a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our clown section now, where it's, like, like you go through the front of the house and there's a clown killing dad on the couch. Like, you hired clowns, but they weren't normal clowns. They took over. So then, like, it's like a dining room with like a giant stack of presents you have to go through, and the clowns are killing the kids and killing the family. And it was just, I wanted to do something different with clowns.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same way I think about Closed Casket, where like I've sculpted clowns, like, don't get me wrong, but like this year, like, we released another clown, but it's supposed to be like a scarecrow, like ragdoll clown, where it's supposed to be like kind of primitive and kind of weird, where like I know everyone wants clowns, but like I already did a clown. Like, here's something that's I've never seen that before. I've never seen like a ragdoll scarecrow clown, and like
a new variation of something.
Just like trying to look at something with a new light.
Yeah.
And
that is ever the fucking what you're trying to do. You're always trying to, like, everyone, like the one artist at Creature Core is like, well, what's hot right now? What's people want to see? I'm like, dude,
it changes with the wind.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I remember it was last year or the year before, everybody was walking around Transworld with those big giant staffs with a fucking bowling ball pin on the end of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, why am I seeing all these? But the guy, I don't know who made them, but he's just like...
He was smart. He was smart, whoever he was. I wish I had that idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm serious, yeah. One year they had the cinder blocks, and I ended up getting one of those. Like, it's actually pretty badass. I'm going to get one. So we ended up getting one of those. But there's always that...
Well, I feel like there wasn't really that much of a trend this year.
Honestly,
I feel like everyone was kind of all over the place. Like, normally, like, I feel like you'll see something, you're like, oh, everyone did this. And I feel like there wasn't like a consistent thread, like, through anything.
I think this year, and we could talk about Transworld all day, and I'm not shitting on anybody, but like I think this year at Transworld, for me anyways, I don't want to say disappointed, but I was just like, it just didn't seem like there was a lot of new stuff. There was a few people that brought a lot of new, but like usually every year there's like a ton of new, and I just think that kind of lacked a little bit.
I think it was the short schedule.
Yeah,
probably. I mean, we lost a month and a half of prep.
That's rough. Yeah,
I mean, that was a race to the finish line, and I feel like I didn't talk to anyone that it wasn't a race to the finish line. Like, where it's like everyone was throwing things in their trucks and trailers, still wet. Like,
we were painting stuff at the show when we were setting up. They were painting and adding hair, to certain props and masks and stuff, because like we didn't have time.
Yeah,
And
I feel like there was a lot of that this year, and then it was like a whopping like 15 degrees in the convention center while we were setting up. And
what the fuck was that about? Shut the door.
Yeah,
I mean, there's that giant overhead door.
You're only
so
saying
like,
you're saying that because you were already in. Like, think about it though. If you were the one that was like, "Well, the door's closed. What do I do?"
It sucked though. It was freezing.
Oh, it was terrible. I did not pack enough warm clothes for that.
Not for on the show floor.
Yeah,
I didn't think I roll in. I'm just like,
well, okay. What day did you guys leave?
Leave St. Louis?
No, leave for St. Louis.
31st. January 31st was, I believe, when we left.
Is that Monday?
No, I think it.
Whatever.
We left. I think Tuesday. Like it was in the morning, like 3 a.m. Tuesday morning.
Okay.
And got there at 11.
See, we left Monday morning. We were driving out. And it was probably like 45, 50 degrees in Akron. Mm-hmm. I was just like, okay, like, winter's going away.
Yeah.
I just drove straight through there. Like, I didn't have to stop. Like, I had to stop for gas somewhere in the middle of Illinois. And I'm just like looking around, like, man, it looks icy. Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then we got out of the van. It was 9 degrees.
Yes.
And it was like, wait. I did not prepare for it to be cold. Because normally I feel like Ohio is about 10 to 15 degrees colder than St. Louis. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's like 40 something degrees. It's gonna be like 50s all week. This is gonna rule.
Yeah.
Like
no.
Oh.
Last day, I think we were there. It got up to 50. The last day.
It was great.
Yeah.
Loadout was so nice.
Oh, yeah. Dude, loadout was it was
terrible. It was terrible.
That was a fucking nightmare.
I didn't mind being outside, though, because imagine that, how much of a train wreck loadout was if it was 9 degrees still.
Oh, man, that would have been horrible.
I would have just gave up.
Yeah, I would have just waited. Like, fuck it. I'll wait till everybody else is gone, and then I'll go last. Yeah. But that was just like, with all that construction and that road being closed.
Terrible.
That was bad.
It was real bad.
Yeah. I hated that. And then there was like, a couple times we saw a couple people like almost like they were yelling and it was like, all right, settle down. It's all good. We'll get through. Calm down.
I feel like load in is always so like orderly. Like I feel like load in is always just like cool, calm, collective.
Yeah.
But then load out, I feel like this is going to sound kind of bad, but I feel like vendors have at least like a little more common courtesy to each other. Mm-hmm. And it's when all the people who are pulling their trucks around to load up their purchases who don't kind of understand how it works. Mm-hmm. And like there was like that truck that parked covering the loading dock.
Yeah.
That we all had to walk out of, and somebody parked their truck in it. And it's just like, well, like, I don't know. That's just like inconsiderate. Yeah. Like,
what are you doing? Come on.
There's 400 some booths trying to load out of the 3 loading docks, and you're gonna park your truck across it.
Yeah.
Like
the 1 year we got there were like semis like in the building, like unloading, probably in the dark zone or whatever, the big scare factory or one of those type places. But it was just like, that's just nuts, man. Oh, we got here at this time, and some people don't leave until like a day and a half later because they just wait. Yep. It's like, we just wait until everything's, we pack everything, and then once everybody's gone, then they just, load up their semis and take off. Just like, not us, man.
Nah, man, I want that stuff back, whatever's left in the van, and I want to go sleep. Like, I feel like we eat dinner, and then I pass out at like 8 o'clock and sleep for 16 hours, and then drive home.
See, because I'm an old man now, so it's like, I like that week is my, you know what? I'm 25 again. And then when I'm driving home, it's just like, I get home and I nap for like 2 days. My wife's like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, that was the one thing that helped me this year is I didn't drink Friday night.
Yeah.
That me and Matt from the schoolhouse went to the Darkness because he had never been to the Darkness.
Was that the night they did the lights on thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I was there. I didn't see you there.
Well, what the heck? We could have walked through together.
I'm disappointed now.
Well, we were kind of late. How'd you get there on time? Because it started at like 6. And I feel like as a vendor, you can never leave. You don't leave the show floor at 5.
We got there like 6:15.
Oh, so we probably got there at the same time. We just ignored each other.
Yeah.
I get it.
I saw you. I was like, Seth Rogen.
I get it. Yeah, but then we we ended up being there kind of late.
Yeah.
And then we went and got dinner after, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah.
And this was like the first year of Transworld I didn't end up like super sick. Like I feel like I always have like the death of the flu, convention crud, whatever you want to call it. Like by Sunday,
around a ton of people, you know.
Yeah, like I feel like by Sunday I'm usually just dying.
Yeah.
And this year I was like, you know what? I actually feel kind of good, and I'm contributing it to not going out Friday night.
How weird was it that because I know you guys knew this was going on? Was the day before Trans World opened? Missouri became legal for weed. I mean, you always smell it, but holy shit, it's like you walk outside and it was just like, all right, well, here we go.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, there was no one outside, man. It was 9 degrees.
All the smokers are still out there.
Yeah.
Cigarette smokers. And weed smokers now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, yeah.
That night at the darkness I smelled it there. I was like, God damn, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Calm down, bro.
I know who that was.
Was it you?
No, it was not
you,
me.
wasn't it?
It wasn't me.
Seth Rogen's a big pothead.
Wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I was somewhat involved in that story.
Well, we won't throw anybody under the bus. That was a cold night, too, at the darkness.
Yeah.
Because when we left, like, we were waiting for an Uber, and I'm just like, this fucking blows. Let's go back inside and wait, because it was freezing.
Yeah. That's what... The building was warm, though. Like,
yeah, there was that.
That's what it's been probably 10 years since I saw The Darkness, and I mean that show's insane. Yeah, there's just so much going on.
There's like everywhere you turn in there, like there's not a flat wall. I mean, everything's textured. There's a prop everywhere you look. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane, and just how much even then not being there for so many years. Like, I mean, how much they change that show constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I imagine you have to there because, they're probably, I mean, I don't know other haunts in St. Louis, but I just wish they would kind of open it back up. That was the one thing that's kind of disappointing with conventions right now. The last couple I've been to anyways is like they don't open a haunt. That's one of the main reasons I would go. I'm not talking lights on tour. I'm talking like a show where they got the people in character, in costume, a show going on. And they just don't do it as much.
Yeah.
The pre-show haunt tours, but a lot of times I don't have time to do that.
Well, that's why as a vendor you can't.
Yeah.
Like I mean that's 2-3 days earlier that there's no way.
Here's a good one for you. I'll ask your opinion on this one. Talk to me about Fear Expo. Have you heard about that? Are you going to vend there?
I don't want to talk about that. Nah.
I thought about going down just to check it out. Maybe just going and seeing what it was about.
Yeah. That's what I know. Some of our management's going down for the haunt tour. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just can't swing it, know? With it being so close to Trans. I mean, Trans World eats up most of my year.
Oh, yeah.
Where I considered maybe doing MHC this year just because having that extra month off Trans World production, but
well, you could always just go and take what you have and be like, no orders. This is what you get.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna go to MHC this year and just have a good time. Yeah. Be the customer. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah, so I just sometimes go to a show without the stress. you know.
Yeah, it is nice, but that's the part of me that. I think, God, I don't want to come as a haunt guy. I want to come as a vendor so I can get in. So I got to wait in that damn line outside.
Well, that's
yeah. That's the one thing where it's just then you got to hit your friends up. Hey, man.
Hey, you got any extra badges? What's up?
Give me a badge, bro. Hook me up.
Yeah, man, I'll sell something to your booth. What's up?
Yeah, right.
I'll put on a shirt.
All right, man. I know you've been here for a while, so let me ask you one more thing before we get out of here.
All right.
So the Morbid Estates thing is you did that and you had you ever think about, I want to throw my hat in the ring again and open up a new haunt?
Not really.
No?
I'm enjoying more doing just the creative side of things.
Yeah.
Where I get to, do the build and do the paint and make the monsters, and I don't really want to deal with all the other side. I don't want to have to be worrying about advertisement and payroll and as much as
marketing and
I enjoy
tickets and
I enjoy working for someone else's who enjoys doing that more than I do, where I get to come in and tear things up and build something cool. And
it's hard to balance.
And I just don't want that stress level.
Yeah.
Running my own show was just nightmarish, I feel like. And like, I mean, I was in over my head. Or I feel like now, 10 years later, I probably have a little more knowledge to do things.
Yeah. You could do it.
I mean,
you could do it.
I mean, I could. It's just a matter of, if I want to,
Yeah. Well, I that's why I've stepped back some from Creature Core because that is the reason why it's hard to balance. And, this is kind of my full-time gig doing this kind of stuff. So I lean more over here. But, there's pros and cons in both, I think,
Yeah, and that's what's if it happened, it wouldn't be anytime soon.
Yeah. You're still young. You got plenty of years.
Yeah. I don't know, but at the same time, I feel like building a haunt's kind of a young man's thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Where like, I feel like I constantly have people be like, well, when I retire, I'm going to open a haunt. And it's just like,
no, you're not.
I don't know, man. It's like kicking my ass and I'm 32 years old, Like,
I wouldn't, that's the one thing that I enjoy now is like, because before I would like get in, I would be building stuff and, doing all that.
Yeah.
And now I just have a crew that does it.
Well, and that's why, like, I've been able to step more into the managerial role and kind of more of the creative director role.
Yeah.
And, like, try to assemble more of a team of people being like, okay, here's, like, my drawings, here's my ideas, like, let's build this.
Make it happen.
And, like, I'm not having to do every ounce of the labor. Like, where it's been a hard thing over these last couple of years of, like, kind of having to give some of that up.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the long run, like it's kind of the natural progression.
It absolutely is. Because then your stress level will go down. My problem is, I don't know about you, but like I always tended, when I first started doing this, to micromanage and, like if something would happen during the season, security issue, just for say, and I'd hear it on the radio, I'm like, I'm running to it. And finally my head of security guy was like, I got it, bro.
Yeah.
I got it. And I'm just like,
well, that's all
right, sorry.
Yeah.
You got to step back and let them, you put them there, let them do it.
Yeah, it's kind of, sometimes it's just finding that right fit for that job,
Yeah.
Where that's sometimes the hardest part is finding. I mean, we've talked about staffing. Yeah. I mean, me and you, I feel like have hit each other multiple times. You know a carpenter right now?
Yeah, I know, right? Somebody looking for a job?
Yeah, like, where sometimes, I feel like these last couple of years has been a little rougher, but like finding the right crew for the right job.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Yeah. It's tough because like I almost like started, reaching out almost at a national level going, look, I got a job. I'll pay you this much. Bring you here. Yeah. I need somebody, Luckily it's worked out, but it's true when they said, nobody's working, there for a while. I think it's getting better now.
Yeah, that's what I feel like this last season wasn't as bad, where it's like 2021 was rough.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, where it's just turnaround, even like actor-wise, was nightmarish, you know.
Oh, of course. I hire all year for actors. Like, I have a guy coming in Monday. There's a guy coming in, and I'm just like,
to interview?
Absolutely. Fuck yeah.
Well, I have a question for you. How do you keep them engaged all year then? If someone's coming in March, how do you keep them, make sure, because like I feel like we've kind of played with where hiring dates are. Mm-hmm. That, like, in some years we've started them as early as, like, honestly, right after the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. But then it turns to the point where then there's, like, the 2 months before we even, like, keeping them engaged and keeping them on board for those 2 months.
Well, there's no, if I knew that, then I would have 150 actors in my haunt every night.
Yeah.
Which is what I need. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But for the ones I have, like the ones like the solid core, I mean, we have a page, just like a Facebook page that we, so share your ideas, blah, blah, this and the other. I also have other things I can do. Like, for instance, this month, we get to do a ghost hunt here at the Reformatory.
Oh, that's cool.
So I like put out there, it's like, hey, we get to do a ghost hunt. It's for Blood Prison only. So like nobody else. It's our own ghost hunt. We bring food in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then they the ghost hunters here at the Ohio State Reformatory will, come in and lead the ghost hunt for us. And then
so that's neat.
Yeah. So stuff like that. And then incarceration, of course,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like, I actually had to do, I have a rule. So it's like, if you want to work ink, you got to work a season, because I had a lot of people that would be like, hey, I want to sign up and act at Blood Prison. Okay, cool. And then they work, I'm like, well, hey, I need people for ink. Can you come? Yeah, sure. and they work ink, and then next thing you know, they're off the page, and because you get to go to ink, you work it, but you get to see the show as well, when you're not haunting. So things like that, and then we just the cast managers posting stuff and asking questions, and I mean that's really all. And then we try to do somewhat team building. We have team builders the summer hits, and then we try to get as many of the actors to come in and start doing the training and the team building stuff. We let them in the haunt. So I mean that's really all I do.
Okay.
Just to try and keep it, because they want to. I think a lot of it is that I've seen is most people just kind of want to be accepted.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like a haunted house is the safe haven for the outcast. It
really is.
I feel like it's probably how we all ended up in it.
Absolutely. So when they feel that way and they look at it like, I can be this person here and no one's going to judge me. Yeah. For the most part. I mean, you always have issues, but that's kind of how we try to do it, because it's like, look, man, you can come in here and tell me your ideas and what do you want to do. And I'm not saying I'm going to use them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you'll get some wild stuff. You're like, no, we're not doing that, man. You know what I mean? But but you know what? They're comfortable enough to come up and say, hey, could I do this? No, but think of something else. You know what I mean? You keep them engaged that way. Yeah. And it's it's not foolproof, but it helps.
Well, that's what I mean, I feel like our core group has been pretty strong. It's just keeping at the numbers we need, and these last couple of years have been rough.
It has. Thing. This year, actually, we started with more actors than we ever have.
Really?
Now, we ended where we normally end, 50 to 60, somewhere in there. Yeah. I don't even think it was even 60. But,
Well, that was what blew my mind for Valentine's Day. Almost everyone showed up. Yeah. Of the people, of that 50 or 60 that ended the season, almost everyone showed up.
Yeah.
Where, we were overstaffed that first night.
Oh, yeah. God, I love those nights.
Where it was just I don't know where to... Okay, there's 4 people in this scene. Yeah. Let's roll. It's going to be awesome. And the show was insane.
We used to have, in the early days, they don't really do it anymore, but Cedar Point closes kind of somewhat early in October. Not early October, but Halloween, before Halloween. And we would get one night a year, 30 of Cedar Point's scare actors would come and guest act here. And we got that set up. And it turned into this, one night of year where I'm like, holy shit, this is how we need to be running every year. Because we went from, we have 45 actors tonight to, holy shit, we've almost got 90.
Yeah.
And it was just this is the way it needs to run. And the Cedar Point people would come because, here we kind of, you can do a little more. At Cedar Point, it's a little more restrictive on what you can do and stuff like that. So they would have good times, coming down here and doing that kind of thing. But when you get those big nights where you have so many people, you're just this is what it is.
This is how I always want to see the show. This is how I thought it was going to happen.
How do we do this?
Yeah. No idea. Because there's nothing worse than building new stuff and then you're like, well, we're short staffed, and
somebody's got a tummy ache tonight, so they can't make it in.
Yeah.
And it just, and it's hard because looking at it from our position where you're managing everybody and you're just it's hard to seriously, man. Oh man, I don't feel good. Oh come on, dude. I mean,
neither do I. I'm just here. I'm here.
It's just I'm try. I get it. I understand, but I don't believe you because I've been because so many people have bullshitted, or the ones that are sick and then they end up coming in later that night to walk through, and I'm just oh, you're fired. Wow, jeez.
Yeah, but then you hate firing people just because you're like, well, I'm already short staffed. Where I feel like it's kind of that balance. That's also a balancing game of just
Well, the good thing about that is I've learned where it's I was worried my early days. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? But then when I talk to more people, they're like, hell no, you're not doing nothing wrong. This is just how it works. Yeah. And it's just
it's like a sad,
not what I wanted to hear.
It's like a bummer of a reality.
Yeah.
Where it's just man, I feel like I start the season so hopeful every year. Yeah. And then it's just it just dwindles down. I'm just come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. 100%, man.
Well, also because you've talked in the past that you have a little more restrictions on who you can hire.
Yeah.
Being next to the prison.
Well, it's not even that. It's more the reformatory itself has guidelines that I have to follow.
Okay.
So it's just like for instance, I can't hire anybody underage. All my people have to be 18 or older.
Yeah.
You know, now I have hired underage, but it's like one person as kind of like an intern, and their parents got to be here the whole night. So that's hard to do when someone's like, yeah, you can work, but mom's got to be here with you, you know, because you're underage. And they all got to do background checks, you know, which isn't a bad thing.
No,
but like a lot of times people go, oh, I got to do a background check. Look, we pay for it. You don't even got to pay for it. Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe. And it's just like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Because then they got to go to the place to get the background check done. And, you know, and you're only making, it's not like it's a full-time gig, you know, so it's just hard to get people to commit.
Yeah.
When you got to do so much to work 15 days, you know.
And then they show up for 2.
And they show up for 2.
They show up for that one weekend.
Yeah.
Then grandma died the 3rd time.
Yes. Man, how many grandparents? Well, you know, it was a step grandma. It's just like.
Well, that was like, as terrible as it is, a couple Octobers ago, we had 3 funerals to go to.
Yeah.
All on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I made this in one of like the pre-show meetings. I'm like, you know what? I've had 3 close relatives or family friends die this month, and I've been to all their funerals, and I haven't missed a night.
Yeah.
Who's having these funerals at 8:00 at night? Why? Like, I don't understand.
Exactly. Yeah. I had a girl, and you know, we miss her, we love her. Her name was Christy. She passed away. Okay, she passed away. It would have been, I want to say it was like March or April. The year she passed away was last year. She worked the whole season. The year before she died, she had cancer.
Yeah.
She worked the whole season, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard when some people are like, oh, well, you know, the 9 grandmas have passed away, or, you know, I scraped my knee. It's like, this chick had cancer, man. And she was here every day. So, and I get it. Some people are, there are people like, and we always ask them like, what's up? Is there any issues? You know, and people will tell you straight up, well, you know, I'm asthmatic or whatever. Yeah. So I got to stay away from the fog, or I got to stay, you know, can't be around the strobe. And that's cool. And I get it. And I know people get hurt. It happens. But it's just like,
I feel like sometimes it's the same couple people every night.
It seems to happen that way. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Help me out here. It's what I tell the zone leaders all the time. It's like, yeah, talk to these people and say, look, there's 15 days we're working. You know, if can you just give me 15? You know, but it just seems like it's not as easy for, you know, some people as it is others, I guess. Because once they realize it's work, then they're just like, oh.
Yeah, I feel like people think it's gonna be just a big party the whole time, and it's not actually a job.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that first night you always have those ones that just this isn't what I wanted. I gotta go to the bathroom, and then you find their costume, throw it in a pile, and they're gone.
I don't like my makeup. What? Come on, man. I don't want to wear a mask. Well, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
That's part of it, you know? Same problems everywhere you go. All over.
Everywhere.
You know?
Everywhere. It's all the same.
But the ones that do stick it out, those are your warriors, and we love them.
Yes.
You know, and you can't get enough of a good, because that's why I tell them, it's like, dude, I can buy 9,000 things from Closed Casket or whoever, but without the actors, it's just a prop sitting on a wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need them.
The actors bring it to life, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But they got to be there.
Yeah. They got to show up.
We'll figure that out. We're going to sit around afterwards and be like, all right, how do we keep actors? We're gonna be the gurus on that one, and then just pay people.
Come see our class at Transworld next year.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know how many people would go to that class?
And it's just going to be us being like, I don't know, man. Like,
you guys want beer? Seth Rogen, get him a beer.
And we'll just have a cooler, and then that will be the brainstorm session. Someone will have a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Just pay them more. Yeah. Payment. That's what they need. Sure.
That's what we bumped up a little bit this year, and I don't feel like it helped.
It doesn't really.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But, you know, you'll find that one way, and you know, maybe it'll work. But it just seems to be every year.
The good thing, though, I think about bumping up the pay is it made our returning staff feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that overall, I think, helped morale of the people who'd been there. We were like, oh, this is really awesome. Because, like, you know, we bumped up pay for everyone, but I don't feel like it helped with retention much.
You know the actors that I like the most? The ones that when you tell them, oh, you get this much in pay. I get paid?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team, buddy. Come on in.
Yeah, they get excited,
Yeah.
Well, that was like the thing where this is my mistake. I realized on our Valentine's Day event,
Yeah.
I just forgot to tell them that when checks were going to be ready.
Yeah.
Not a single person asked.
Wow.
None of them cared.
I don't think I've had that yet.
Yeah, like it's like we were running payroll and like no one even mentioned it, and I was just like, this is like these people wanted to be here, like
Yeah.
and that's what's exciting,
Absolutely.
like it wasn't just, hey man, I got rent due, like where's my check, and it's just like, well, they're checks, so they need to be processed, so it's gonna be next week,
Right.
that
You
no
work
one
the
no one
week,
even
you get paid the
no one
week,
even
yeah.
asked, and it was just like, this is nuts, like these people are here for the show, they're
Yeah.
here to have
Yeah.
a good time, like
That's how I do it.
I'm thankful for all of you.
That's exactly. You guys are the greatest.
Yeah,
Stay with me, or go to Blood Prison.
I think some of them do come down and get stacked every once in a while.
Yeah. We always get a few every year, but
Yeah.
that's what I do at Inc. Actually, it's Inc's voluntary, so
Okay.
there's no pay. The only thing I do at Inc. is I was like, look, I'll give you food, but you get into this pretty killer show.
Wait, so you're telling me if I come act, I can come see Slipknot?
Yeah. If you act, I'll introduce you to Slipknot.
Whoa.
That's not fucking true. That's not going to happen. But
I don't. No offense, I don't even know who else is really playing this year. I just know Slipknot was playing.
yeah, Slipknot.
I'd love to see Slipknot.
This is their second year. They played
They
not
played
last year, but
yeah.
the year before.
Oh, that wasn't that.
No, last year they didn't play. It was
I knew they played recently at some point.
last year. It was Disturbed, Korn, and Breaking Benjamin were the headliners.
Okay.
The year before that was Slipknot, Rob Zombie, and Mudvayne.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they're coming back. It was a cool show. I mean, I've seen Slipknot before, but
See, I've never seen Slipknot, and that's, I feel like, one of those bands that.
see, here we go again. I'm old. So I saw Slipknot like in 1999.
Well, sorry, man. I was like 8 years old.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying back then though.
I was
it
like drinking a juice box. Like I.
It was now it's all yeah. Well, fuck you. You're still drinking juice boxes at 8?
I don't know. I don't know what I was doing
Do you
at
have
8.
a sippy cup?
Maybe I was drinking like a can of soda.
Had some pop.
Had some Mountain Dew. I don't know. I have no idea what I was doing.
Yeah. No, we saw them. It was they were like at Inc. the last time. There was a giant stage and they were all like big lights and flames. It was fucking great. But the first time I saw them, they were like jumping on top of each other and just fucking beating the shit out of each other. And Corey Taylor would pull his mask up and just fucking throw up. And you're just like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean?
That's sweet though.
It was always badass. You're just like, what am I looking at here? Now you know who all they are, and you know.
Yeah.
But no, Ink's a fun event, and the actors will come and work it just so they get to come to the show.
No, that's sweet. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's an insane incentive of itself.
Yeah.
Because are you open? It's 3 days, right?
Yeah,
So you open all 3 days?
absolutely.
Oh.
But it's all during the day too, so it's not like we're haunting from 7 to. So they get to come and do the haunted attraction. I think what is it, like noon? I think we open at noon until 5.
Okay.
So it's like 5 hours for 3 days, and then they come in, get out of makeup, costumes, all that stuff, and then we give them food, and then they get to go watch.
That's sweet. That's like
or go get some ink, whatever they want to do.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like I wish I could offer something like that to my staff.
That's one of the, like you said, the engagement things is like
like that's
one of the things we can do.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then last year was probably the biggest year where artists came in. I mean, artists come into the prison every year.
Yeah.
But like a lot came in
That's
this year, like, and just did tours, and they didn't really care. And they would just come in and like even through guests, like I think Disturbed's bass player came in and got a tour and saw the warden's widow, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" So they got a picture with her, and I don't know Jelly Roll. Do you know who Jelly Roll? You ever heard of him?
No.
I'd never heard of him until last year, but like my whole crew.
I feel like
is
someone was
just,
talking about Jelly Roll recently.
I think he's a YouTube phenomenon guy.
Okay.
And he got famous on YouTube, and now he's like doing tours. But he was at Inc. last year, and my crew, like a lot of the actors, are just like, "Fucking Jelly's gonna be there, man." I'm just like, "Who's Jelly?
Oh,
What are
wait.
you talking about?"
Someone was talking about that guy.
Yeah,
Because somehow we all got sponsored ads. He's like going on tour or something.
yeah.
And
Well, he came through the haunt. And a couple of my actors, not the haunt, the prison.
Okay.
You know, so it was just like a lot of that going on. And then Ink, one of the people from Ink said, hey, Korn wants to come through your haunted attraction. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's going to be awesome. Like, who in Korn? Because if it's like Jonathan Davis, they're going to know that's him. How do you not know Jonathan Davis when you see him? You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you know Korn, you know what I mean? You know Jonathan Davis. He's got giant dreads, and he just don't look like anybody around here anyways. Yeah. So it was, but they turned up. They wanted to come at like 7 or whatever. But some artists did go through. The lower tier artists got to go through and had a great time. And,
that's sweet. I mean, that's cool. Like,
yeah. So that's one of the perks, I guess.
No, I mean that's.
Here.
I mean, I wish I could offer something like that.
You know what though? We're gonna bring you down, and we're getting you in at Ink, but you got to act.
Okay.
And do makeup.
You want me to do makeup?
Yeah, and
I'll come do makeup.
And you have to. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, if you want to come down, dude, let me know. I'll hook you up, man. You know that.
Whoa.
I'll put you on the haunt crew.
Whoa.
You, not you and 10 of your friends.
Oh man.
That's what I get every year.
Hey, so like, can me and like, I mean, I'm gonna like have a party bus.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. You guys want to have the meet and greet package as well?
Yes,
Get you backstage, all that good stuff.
I need autographs.
Yeah, yeah. Sure, no problem.
I need a bunch of free merch.
Yeah, right. Oh, with T-shirts from every band, even the ones I've never heard of.
But they're meeting Seth Rogen.
Yeah. We have a Seth Rogen meet and greet.
That's how I'll look it up. Hey, can we have Seth Rogen do a meet and greet with Slipknot? He's a big fan. You know. I'll just send your picture. Oh, what's that? Well, yeah, sure. Why not?
It's close enough. Close enough.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen. Thanks for joining me here, man. I've been dying to get you on the show, and I appreciate you coming down, making the trip.
Oh, absolutely.
And we got to do it again.
Sure.
I'd like to have you come back some other time. Maybe next year after haunt season or something.
Okay.
Let's do it again. And thanks for coming down, man.
Oh, for sure, man.
It's been a good time.
It's a good time.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks,
man. Seth.
See, I told you I can't do it.
All right, man. Have a good one, dude. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
You too, man. Thank you.